So how come none of y'all told me how fire Spider-Man was?
Yeah, literally nobody said how good it was.
Like, literally, I heard it was good, but I didn't know it was that good.
Yeah, maybe it was, people didn't want to spoil it. It's kind of hard to not spoil.
Right, right.
I didn't even see anybody saying it was fire. Like,
I seen a lot of people saying that movie been getting praised all summer.
Right.
Just for some reason, I was just like, the first one was so good. I was like, I don't know if they could beat the first one. But
Right.
that movie, we went to go see Spider-Man Across the
Right.
Universe a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was amazing. 10 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Classic. Everything about it was amazing. The execution, the acting, the characters, the animation,
Yeah.
the beats,
The music.
emotion.
Yeah.
Everything. It was such a good movie, man. And
Yeah.
we seen it a few weeks ago because we didn't get a chance to see it when it first got released.
Right.
So we was like, okay, well, we want to see this movie in theaters. We don't want to watch this at home because sometimes watching a movie at home, especially a movie of that magnitude,
Right.
kind of takes away from the experience. And we love to have a very good cinematic experience with watching movies. So we was like, okay, we'll find a showing. And we found the showing, got the tickets. I believe we went on a Saturday.
Yeah.
It wasn't packed, but it was still, I was surprised to see how many people were still going to see that movie. To be honest,
Yeah.
I haven't been able to go to an empty theater in a while.
Yeah, true. The last
All
time
summer.
we was at an empty theater was Tenet.
Well, yeah, because it was,
'Cause it was
the
the pandemic,
pandemic.
yeah.
It was just us, huh?
Yeah, it was only us
We
in the whole
risked our
theater.
lives to go Tenet, okay? I was like so distraught. My industry was in shambles. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to see Tenet, damn
Yeah.
it. So
So shout out to Christopher Nolan, man. We held it down.
we
you
held
know.
it down for Tenet. We
Yeah,
was
we
the
held
only
it down
ones
for
in there.
Tenet. Yeah.
But no, Spider-Man, it was a great experience, man. It was about, say, 10 people in there, and
Yeah.
we kind of got, we ended up being late, but we wasn't too late where we missed any of the movie, but we was late because, guys, the concession stands this summer has been ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely.
You will be in line literally for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
At this point, not complaining about the workers because I know they're all young and they're just doing their job. But at
Yeah.
this point, just have a self-serving popcorn line or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Seriously,
agree.
I would go put the scoop in myself and get my popcorn as long as I could get it faster.
Exactly.
So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's talk about Spider-Man Across the Universe.
Man, look, I want to say that this is probably one of the best animated movies I've ever seen.
I agree.
And I don't even think it's by like that big of a stretch. Like, I really loved the animation in this movie. You know, I'm a huge animation person.
He is.
So I've seen a lot, and this one, just bar none, was one of the best animated movies that I think have ever been made. The parts with Gwen and her universe were so beautiful.
Yeah.
It really pushed forward what animation can do, like how animation can tell a story.
Yes.
You know, and that's one thing that I hope everybody takes that away from this movie. Like, what you can do with animation to tell a story. The beauty of animation is it's literally moving pictures.
Exactly.
So, like, you can do whatever you want, and they took that to the limit in this movie.
They took it there.
You know?
I would have to agree with you, man. I really love this movie. Like, I think you put me more on animation. Like, I used to watch animation. Everybody grew up with the Powerpuff Girls and Eddie,
Yeah.
you know, Cat Dog and stuff. But as I got older, I kind of like steered away from animation. But he's a big animation guy.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty, Futurama,
Everything.
What else you be watching?
Archer,
Archer.
American Dad. That's
So,
one of my favorites.
you know, my fiance be watching TV. Sometimes I want to spend some time with him. I watch one of his shows, and I just ended up falling in love with animation just as much as he did. But Spider-Man, oh my gosh. It's such a good movie. Everything was such top-notch.
Right.
The execution, I don't even know where to start. My mind is just like...
yeah. It's
like,
it literally is a 10 out of 10.
It's firing right now. My mind is firing because I don't even know where to start. That's how good this movie was. Let's just start like what you said with the Gwen. They opened
Gwen's
up
universe.
with the Gwen universe.
Right.
And it was like a painting by Monet. The brush strokes was so detailed. You can see the brush strokes in that cartoon. It was so beautiful.
Right, yeah.
Beautifully done. And one thing that they did with Monet World, they did use watercolors. They did say they had to like engineer something to be able to execute that world the way they did.
Yeah.
It was amazing. One thing that stood about her world that I really liked was the emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
You can actually feel what that character was going through based on that art style.
Exactly. Yeah.
And one of my favorite moments is when, spoiler alert, we don't get into those right now.
Yeah, no, we spoiling this one.
No,
Yeah.
we're not gonna spoil it, but this could be a spoiler.
Yeah.
There's a scene when Gwen and her dad have this conversation, and the walls surrounding them was like bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
The colors was bleeding on the page.
Right, yeah.
That's how much pain Gwen was going through. And
Which part? Are you talking about the first or second time?
I can't even remember, but that whole world, it had to be the second time. When they both was having that heartfelt discussion. It was like very vulnerable.
Yeah, yeah.
But Gwen's whole world reacted around her emotions.
Exactly.
And that was so fire. It was so beautiful.
I love that part.
It touched me.
Because they did it the first time when she had to reveal herself.
Yeah.
And I loved how it was showing that with her, it was, like you said, like the bleeding, running, like almost rainbow-esque colors.
Yeah.
But then for her father, it was just black and white.
Yeah.
Like blotted colors. And it was really showing their difference of like just perspective.
The conflict, yeah.
And like with him, it
contrast.
was like he couldn't see the nuance in the situation, so they used black and white. Whereas for her, she was like, this is way more.
It's more than black and white.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And so like
so much gray going on here, Dad.
There was shout out to the director for this. Like they clearly had such a massive vision.
Yes.
And to execute it the way they did was I can see how much love went into crafting that film,
And that's what makes me excited as a filmmaker, but also as a movie lover, a movie goer, just to see how much work that people put into their projects. You can feel it.
Right,
you can feel it, you guys. When Top Gun Maverick came out, I felt that.
Right.
I was on it immediately. I said, oh, these people, they went above and beyond with their craft.
Exactly.
And that's one of my favorite scenes, was those conversations with her dad and their art style. But they did a different art style for everybody's world.
For every world, exactly, yeah.
So that's hard to do.
Exactly,
So many different art styles in one movie.
Right.
They even had Legos.
Exactly, yeah. The Lego one. Shout out to, I can't remember his name, but
a young man,
14-year-old who did the small little Lego scene that was fire.
And it was fire.
Yeah, it was so funny. It was great.
Almost, this movie has so many different aspects of media. They even had the live action Andrew Garfield.
Right,
live action Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. They had Donald Glover.
Yeah.
It was just so amazing. And man, my brain is firing off because I'm trying to articulate how much I love this movie, but it was such an amazing movie, and I really do appreciate everybody who was attached to this project, the writers, the directors, the voice actors, everybody from the PA who gave everybody coffee and pizza. Exactly, you guys did a wonderful job. This movie is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, for real.
We don't get a lot of 10 out of 10s.
Yeah,
it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
This is probably the second one. This is probably the first one for me since Top Gun.
Yeah.
10
out of 10, and I was very impressed. And then you got to think about the task that they had going into making the sequel, right?
Exactly,
The first one was fire.
The first one's already a 10 out of 10.
The first one was fire. So you mean to tell me you got to top that?
Exactly, yeah.
You know how hard that is?
Exactly. And
you
the pressure.
You had to top the first one?
The pressure, they're just
but they did it.
Yeah, they really did. They knocked it out.
They knocked it out.
Here, there's something else I really love was the characters. So one of the best parts of the first one were all the different spider people, right? But then in this one, I loved how they took it another step further, right? So you already had Issa Rae as Spider-Woman who's pregnant, which I thought was, so perfect. I was like, that was so awesome to see.
They had a pregnant black woman as Spider-Woman. That was so
fire.
Funny.
But then you had Hobie. And I loved Hobie. I think that's his name.
Which one is Hobie?
He was the British guy.
Oh, Hobie was like...
He was so fire.
Hobie was so cool,
He was just like walking Sex Pistols, He was just... Yeah! You know what I'm saying? And it was so dope to see. And then he had the whole anti-establishment persona. It was so awesome.
It was so
especially
fire.
In a story that was talking about structure, right? So it was a perfect character for the story that they were going for,
Exactly.
And then the way they used him at the end, which I won't
made
spoil.
sense because he was against structure
exactly,
in the first place, right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Then even they when we were watching the BTS, they showed even his art style. He's like somewhat changing art styles over time.
Yeah,
like minimally, you know.
Yeah.
Like some parts he seems like he's within his universe while in another universe.
Yeah.
Just because of his pure need to reject whatever's going on. So yeah, they really killed the characters in this one. I love the characters.
They killed it, man. Even like bringing back the OG Peter, the one who was the mentor to Miles Morales in this movie, but this time he had the baby, the spider baby.
Oh my God, that baby was so cute.
It was so hilarious.
Yes.
And is I was like, man, I would love to see different type of superheroes. Not always like coming of age. I want to see like a midlife crisis Spider-Man, a midlife crisis Batman, you know, because let's see them be the superhero and actually having a family, because that's going to add more conflict. And then with him, you know, in the first one, how he was depressed and stuff and going through what he was going through. They did a really good job. Miles Morales, he grew a little bit as far as his size goes. The voice actor, he's killing it as Miles Morales. He also killed it as what's the rapper he played on the
Raekwon? The Wu-Tang.
The Wu-Tang. You guys
saga,
got to check out the Wu-Tang. That's a great, phenomenal show as well.
I loved it. And honestly, the third season to me was the best of the whole. Like it went out with a bang.
Third season was the best. It went out with a bang. I love the reiterations
or the reimagining
of the album
that
through
was so
Kung
fire.
Fu or through different type of their favorite, like
different
Godfather
genres.
or something like that.
Right.
They did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
But back to the movie, man. Beautiful movie. You got kids, go watch it.
Definitely.
It should be streaming soon. If it's not streaming right now, I think you could like rent it on Amazon for $20. Grab the family and watch this movie. It's very good movie. It's one of those Toy Story type of animations. You're gonna love it. You're gonna fall in love with it. You're gonna be able to relate to it. Just good job. So like, we don't want to keep saying good job, but let's move on. What was some of your favorite things that you really did love about the movie? What stood out to you the most?
Honestly, I was just about to say, like, did you want to go into the story? Because like the story to me was what really,
the story is what elevated even more.
Exactly
like,
right.
All that extra stuff was so cool. It's
exactly
like
right. It's the icing on the cake. Yeah. But like the story was so
powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
So well done.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was a good story, man.
I really love the theme.
Let's start. Go ahead and start.
I really love the theme talking about like your like who you are, like identity based on the story of Spider-Man, right? Because like that's basically what they were saying is like, because you're Spider-Man, these things have to happen within your universe in order to preserve the essence of the universe.
You can relate that back to our world, the status quo.
Exactly.
You gotta stick to the status quo.
Exactly.
You a jock, you a nerd. You can't be this, you can't be that. But go ahead.
And I feel like that's one of the best things about Miles Morales, deciding, you know what, that's cool for y'all, but since y'all call me an anomaly anyways, well then I'm just gonna do everything different anyways. Right. And it was interesting showing how even though he was so jealous of Hobie at one point, he ends up pretty much mimicking him towards the end. He's like, I'm just going to rebel against all of this because y'all are telling me to do something that I won't stand for because of who I am.
Right.
And so, like, identity seems to be a common theme so far between both of the movies, but this one, they did an excellent job taking it to the next level because it got meta, right?
It got super meta.
Because we're spider people, these things have to happen within our lives.
Right, this is just the way it is.
Exactly, and you have to accept that. And for him to be like, nah, I'm not doing that just because y'all say
that's
so.
That's what you say so, or that's what's supposed to happen.
And you got to think, this is on the scale of the universe. We're not talking about just your family. We're talking about all of existence. So, like, I really appreciate what this movie was saying. On top of, like you said, on top of all the other stuff. Yeah. You got the action and the Spider-Man fighting.
Like icing on the cake,
and then you have this core of the story. Oh, my God. It's just...
Story was crazy.
So
I agree.
Good.
I'm going to take it up a notch because basically, spoiler alert, they was basically saying Miles Morales, in the beginning, they was like, Gwen, she's like, yeah, I came to see you. I'm part of this little club. You know, we go from dimensions you know, we fight the bad guys. He's like, yo, what? How come I'm not part of that?
Exactly.
And I thought the same thing, too. But I thought it was because of how young he was, or maybe he had a lot more growing up to do. He was immature. But come to find out, it's actually because, oh, this is a big spoiler. I don't know if I want to really say it on the camera. Basically, he wasn't supposed to be the person that got bit.
Yeah.
So they, what's the word? Not isolated him, but they alienated him.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why he couldn't join the rest of the Spider-Mans. And it came out that everybody knew that except for him, and he was a little hurt about that.
Yeah.
And it was deep because you got to think about the race. Miles is a black Hispanic person. In the real world, you may feel alienated or you may feel like you don't belong just because of your race or your sex or whatever. Amongst
like a situation where there are other people who don't deem you as valuable.
Exactly.
Because of where you are. So like, let's say you work at the White House or something.
Right.
You know,
you're there,
but they don't think you even belong there.
Right.
Because of whatever stipulation that they determine.
So
in this
just
instance,
adding that, it adds so much depth. The story was just so rich because on top of that, he was a black and Hispanic kid, and it could work both ways,
exactly,
right? He could say that about him going to this fancy prep school.
Exactly.
You know, you don't belong here. The only reason why you're here because your aunt paid your tuition.
Exactly,
your uncle
right.
Freddie died last week. That's why you're here. Everybody else here because we all born rich. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, the story just hit on multiple. The story just pulled at the emotion strings like none other.
Right, yeah.
Like, I was very empathetic with Miles. I have similar situations where I feel alienated because of who I am.
Right.
And it was a great story.
Yeah.
Man,
very
it's
relatable.
so hard trying not to like just spill the beans.
Just talk about everything.
Yeah, just talk about everything because I want to leave you guys with a little bit so you can actually go watch it for yourself, so you can actually, experience it for yourself for the first time, because that's one of the best parts of watching the movie is experiencing it
the very first
time.
Mm-hmm.
What else did I like about the story? I love all the main Spider-Man, like Hobie. What was the Indian one?
I can't remember his name. He was dope though.
He was dope.
Yeah.
He had some pretty hair.
Yeah, he was dope.
But no, he was dope, man. And I love the little story that happened in his world when Miles saved his girlfriend. Wasn't that his Gwen? Who was getting ready to die?
I can't even remember. Or maybe more like his MJ.
MJ or Gwen, it was his person, and Miles saved him.
Mm-hmm.
And
but he wasn't supposed to.
He wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
It was supposed to happen, and it was a big mess. But
yeah.
I really do enjoy this movie, man. It's a classic. I'm pretty sure I'm going to study it.
Right.
It was, guys, you just don't understand how hard it is to do.
And
the first one, and then like come back and re-up.
Yeah, definitely.
In every shape, way, everything they imagined looked like they did.
Yeah.
Nothing was off the table.
Yeah.
And they did it successfully.
Man.
Oh God, you know how hard that is? It wasn't just a cash grab. Like, hey y'all, here come the sequel. We know y'all like the first one. Come here. No, they killed this movie.
And one of the things about, so when it comes to animation, I used to always, even my mom would be like, why you always watching cartoons and stuff like that. And I think people don't realize the power of animation. Like, it can be just as much powerful, if not more powerful, than conventional means of storytelling because of the medium. Mm-hmm. And this movie, to me, if anybody were to ever ask why would you watch any animation, this would be what I would show them.
Man,
because the ability for them to draw the emotional heartstrings that they did.
Those paint strokes when the walls was bleeding.
When the walls was bleeding, I was like, I already fell in love with the movie. It was a piece.
Every frame.
Oh yeah.
Okay, wait. Let me let you finish.
Well, yeah. We probably saying the same thing, but yeah, like this movie's ability to conjure your emotions is what makes it so powerful.
Yes.
And the first one even did it as well, but somehow this one took it another step further.
Took it to another step further.
And so like
I'm trying to figure out how they did it.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite, so like one of my favorite scenes from the first one was when him and his dad was standing next to the door, and they had, so the door was right there. Here was Miles, here was his dad, and they both had their face, they back as a bug on me or something.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh, okay. Y'all, but anyways, that scene from the first one when they was getting into a fight and they was arguing and stuff, and they both back up to the door. They was facing the opposite. That was such a dope. Do you know what part I'm talking about?
I really don't. I gotta watch the first one again.
Oh God! But I want to talk about the cinematography, the animation in this movie. Literally every frame was art.
Yeah.
Every frame was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I would take the whole movie and put it on my wall.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Yeah,
it
for
was
sure.
so beautiful. They even took it up a notch when, remember in the first one where he was learning how his powers work and he did like a flip and the world was upside down,
right,
and
exactly,
it looked like he was. They even did that again, but this time they were
sitting down.
They were sitting.
Yeah, and
so
it was the two of them.
Decisions like that help elevate this movie to what it was, and it's 10 out of 10, instant classic.
Yeah,
amazing, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yep.
Like, it was beautiful, man. It was so beautiful. And then, like, everybody know Miles, his art style is very, the way they capture the comic book style of it.
Oh, right, exactly, yeah.
That's, like, man, what can we say?
Yeah, other than you gotta watch this movie.
You guys gotta watch the movie, and I love the fact that they pay respect to, what's his name, the rapper, Childish Gambino.
Oh, right, exactly.
I'm about to say Danny Glover. Donald Glover.
Yeah.
They pay respect to him because I actually heard that Miles Morales was based off of him.
Yeah.
He was in Community. He had a Spider-Man costume on.
Right.
And somebody got the idea, like, yo, what if we had like a black Spider-Man?
Right.
Boom, here go Miles Morales. And they always pay. You guys watch Spider-Man Across the Universe. It is 10 out of 10. Amazing movie. Amazing movie, guys.
Yep. Go see it.